Welcome to the Boncast Show. Today I got Tinn. How's it going?
Hi, how's it going, guys? It's great to be here. It's my first time on the Boncast Show.
Awesome.
Super exciting.
Cool. Well, thank you for making your way here. Congratulations on graduating.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I graduated last semester.
Yeah. So we're here today to talk about VCN.
Yes.
What is VCN and what's your role in VCN?
Okay, great. So if you guys don't know, VCN stands for Vietnamese Culture Night.
Mm-hmm.
And every year, VSA puts on this annual culture show for the CSUN community.
Yeah.
And it's a student-produced show. It's full of acting, singing, modern dance, traditional dance, lion dance, all of that and more. And the story often involves the Vietnamese and Vietnamese American experience, so that can include different values, traditions, or even social issues that they may face.
Awesome.
Second part of your question. I am this year's VCN director, so I wrote and directed the story. I also helped produce the show alongside my board and my crew, so that's been a cool experience.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember we were on VCN, we were just actors. How did you end up becoming director? How did that come about? Did you volunteer or did you kind of run for it?
Well, my interest in directing, I felt like there was always this sort of connection I had with VCN since my first VCN. And that year I was stage crew manager, and I also played like a minor role as a doctor. And just seeing like Tinn like produce and direct the whole thing, I was like, wow, like that looks really fun. Like maybe I would want to do that like further down the road. And then just going into next year, like getting more of a major role, and then I really wasn't going to run for VCN director this year. I had to run until my fellow board members and friends were like, you'd be perfect for VCN director. And Tinn, who has been VCN director for 3 years, he totally encouraged me. And so it was so cool to have that support from the people that I've been working with in VSA for like a few years.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like I'm graduating, but like I already knew I was planning to graduate fall semester. And so I was like, okay, spring semester, I can focus on my job and directing and everything like that.
Yeah, I can't imagine being a director and still going to school. That must be tough.
Oh, yeah. Well, I graduated last semester, but I still... So part of like what I did last semester alongside school, I was writing the script, and I was also trying to book the theater, get a bunch of like our sponsors and grants and all that. So it was actually like, I knew what I was getting myself into, but like it required a lot of focus, a lot of teamwork with the board, and just like there are always going to be setbacks. So I came across like financial setbacks and like casting setbacks, so it was like that was a little difficult to deal with, but like I pulled through, and I finished with a high GPA at CSUN.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
That's
tough. Thank you.
I commend that. Was it your highest GPA?
It was, I always like lingered with a 3.8. It's like a 3.83.
Nice.
Right, thank you.
My last semester was like my best semester. I got all A's.
Yeah,
one A
nice.
minus. And that's even well on top of VCN practice and VCN culture, Vietnamese Culture Night.
Right.
Last year's story. That's with Obi, right? He had he was the soldier.
He died on stage.
Yeah, that was so sad. It was so good.
Everyone refers to that.
So what was the story again? It was it was a character trying to get out of Vietnam, and Obi was the American soldier.
Yeah, Obi was the American soldier, but the whole story kind of evolved around these two families, one like both like really successful, but the two main characters, one grew up, Lizelle, who played the main character, she grew up in like a successful family, and then there was the farmer boy, Renzo, if you remember. It's kind of like, it surrounded their whole love story and the things that kind of threatened their families and their relationships, so that was a really cool thing. And it was also a musical, so that was really That was
Yeah,
really cool.
that was so good. So that took place around Vietnam War,
Mm-hmm.
right? You were saying earlier that VCNs usually dictate, or they reflect Vietnamese American experience.
Yes.
This year, I got to preview the script. It's set in year 2020, which is different because it's before. I remember when I was in it, it was in like the 90s.
Yeah.
And last time, it was in the 70s, early 70s, mid 70s, 80s. Now you're jumping 2020.
Yeah.
Without giving away too much, what's the story about?
Okay, well, the reason why I kind of wanted to jump forward is because there are like these relevant issues that are happening today. And so this year we're putting a modern twist on VCN, and it's a coming of age story. It's about a young second generation Vietnamese American girl, and she's just trying to figure out where she fits in. She's more interested in being more Americanized, like she's in high school, fitting in for friends. And her parents are far more traditional. They are Vietnamese refugees, and they want to instill the different cultures and values into her. And they can seem like a little more old-fashioned in her sense. And it's all about how she tries to figure out who she is and identifies herself. But alongside that, she identifies like what comes with her race comes different issues like racism and discrimination. And these can often turn into bigger issues like deportation or strict immigration policies and all that. And so that's what this story touches on, is undocumented immigrants and refugees and how they are getting deported back then and even now. If you like pay attention to the news and like the new push that the administration is having on immigration policies. So I just thought that was really important to touch upon.
I agree 100%. How did you decide to come up with this story? How did you, just because of decide to do current times as opposed to like stuff back then?
How I always picture VCN throughout like these years is a platform to raise awareness of different social issues that surround the Asian American community, the Vietnamese American community, like communities in general, minorities. And so like I always knew that I wanted to do, if I were to do VCN and write a story for VCN, I wanted to surround like social injustices that we face and raise awareness of that. And what really inspired me actually was last semester, end of last spring semester, I watched the Tam Tran Goes to Washington. And Gina like really encouraged VSA to come out, and like Tracy Buena Vista personally knew the whole story, the main character and everything, and they talk about undocumentation. And so like I was really inspired by that, and there were even some special guests that came out to that event who were Vietnamese undocumented immigrants, and they were fighting like deportation of Vietnamese families. And so I knew, okay, well, this is perfect. It's so relevant. So I just did a bunch of research, and I'm like, okay, this issue is obviously not going away, and I feel like it's not getting the spotlight that it deserves. And so like I really wanted to touch upon that, even though it's such a difficult story because it's a hard story.
Yeah, it's heavy.
It's a heavy story, but hopefully, like, our story is fictional, but it's based on actual events that have happened or things that can happen and things that families are facing today.
Yeah, 100%. I think that when, I don't think Southeast Asians or Asians in general are mentioned in the topic of undocumented individuals or immigration.
Yeah.
It's mainly Latinx community, but
yes.
we don't really, or the news doesn't really take into consideration or expose that there are a lot of Southeast Asians who, in the past may have, had run into the law, but they definitely changed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I can say, when the situations that many come into, it's broken families, broken homes due to Vietnamese being refugees in the war, different Southeast Asian communities, and you know, you're put in environment situations, and many are still experiencing, you know, post-traumatic stress disorder, or their families are. So it's almost like, not that it's ever bound to happen, but you're put in situations where it's really difficult to get out of.
Yeah.
You know, and sure, they may have faced time and, you know, paid for their crimes, but they're functioning individuals in society now.
Exactly. Yeah.
And to take them away when they're doing so well, it's like, it doesn't really add up.
Yeah, it doesn't. And it's just like, you also have to put into consideration that like Southeast Asians, when they came to America, they were often placed into these poverty-stricken neighborhoods full of gangs and violences,
right.
and that can often lead to them having a criminal offense,
right.
you know, committing something. But then like you said, they do their time, and then they create new lives for themselves.
Right.
They create a family,
right.
and then years along the road, government can just take that away.
Right.
That's just so hard, and in my head, like, so unjustified. Like,
yeah.
I just, yeah,
okay.
like, it's,
it's very difficult because, you know, they identify with being American more than, or Vietnamese American
yeah.
more than being Vietnamese. Many have never been to Vietnam.
Yeah, that's another great point. And like, when they get deported, sometimes they don't even have family out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have to start over,
right.
and it's just a terrible situation for
yeah.
them and their family. So
right.
yeah,
it's very difficult, and I'm glad that you, along with your board, have decided to run this story. You know, it's being an Asian American Studies major. It does. I like that. I like that you were able to do that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I mean, it's really good that you shine light to this. And you know, in the past, it's great that we discuss the past, but it's also good to talk about the present. You know, what's going on now. And even I think now more than ever, it's good to discuss this and put it into a play/musical. Will it be a musical too?
It won't really be a musical.
Okay.
No. But they'll be singing. They'll be choir. But
cool.
yeah, mostly acting.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you start writing the script? How long did it take? And yeah.
It was actually a really hard process because
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to get out of my head, like, this is such a hard story, I have to do research on this, and this. Like, I have so many different like documents that I will look at over and over again,
wow.
and I look to Gina, Professor Masakesme, and Professor Tracy Buena Vista, like, for a little bit of advice, and just making sure I was going in the right direction. But that at the end of the day, I still wanted to be my story more than anything. Although I really, really appreciate their knowledge and their help and like their support. But I started writing actually around November, and it was actually a very, very slow process in terms of like creating these characters and just like figuring out what's going to be their journey across like this show, and it was just a little difficult. But then I just kind of like, December was like non-stop writing, like winter break I was just writing, like family and writing. Like that was my winter break. And like I actually surprised myself that I like whipped up this story, and I was like, okay, I have something here. And so like I would say around like November, that's when it actually got started with the writing.
What's your writing process? I know it's different, you know. I can write some music, but how do you write a screenplay or like a play in general? Like, do you start from the beginning, you start from the end, or you just start for wherever you're comfortable?
Oh, it's so different for everyone. But for me, yeah, I just kind of like, I had the general idea in my head. Like, I already knew how it was going to end and how it was kind of initially going to begin, but figuring out the middle parts are like so difficult, and I feel like I didn't really start like kind of getting a good rhythm going until I started figuring out, who are these characters, like what do they value, like what is their goal in life, what is their goal in this entire show, and like what means the world to them. It's just like, I feel like the story definitely surrounds the characters. Once I locked down the characters, I was like, okay, this character would do this, then they would do that. And yeah, that's how.
Where do you get the characters from? Are they inspiration from people you know or documents you've read? I read some of them, they're well thought of.
Oh, thank you.
I can reflect, reading some of the script, I can resonate with some of the stuff, having, strict parents and whatnot. Where do you get these characters from?
Well, the main character, like, just having strict parents and just going through that whole high school experience, that was mainly inspired by my life and my experience with my parents. So the parents are also inspired by my parents, being very traditional. So, yeah, a lot of it has come from my life and just something that, like, I was super excited to touch upon because it was just so personal to me. And in terms of, like, other characters, I got inspiration from Tam Tran, Goes to Washington, like, the main character, Tam Tran, like, she's such a strong individual, and, like, she stands up for her community and her family. I was like, okay, that's cool. I want this, and I want this character in my show. So, like, the combination of myself and Tam Tran makes the main character on. And then the other characters are just, like, I feel like, like, a lot of my high school friends that I came across, my college friends, like, they have definitely morphed into these characters. So it's been really cool, like, doing that.
Because as I read the script, I thought to myself, oh, I have a friend that's kind of like that.
Yeah.
I know people that are kind of like that. So it felt very relatable. I have a friend that always pushes me to go out. I have a friend that's more reserved. And I have those, I've been to a party and, like, people are being weird. I don't want to spoil too much. But, what I also noticed with VSA, there's modern dancing, which is, I guess, modern hip-hop dancing. And there's also traditional dancing. What can you tell me about traditional Vietnamese dancing? What type of dancing and where do you kind of get it from?
So traditional Vietnamese dancing, we mainly use, so you'll often see that we use fans, we use umbrellas, we wear aliyahs. That's the most important thing, is the costume, the wardrobe for these dances. And, like, they are meant to tell a story, usually. Traditional Vietnamese dances tell a story, and we usually have, it can be a male kind of choreograph, it can be a female or like a co-op choreograph, and it's just like, it's a really stunning, it's supposed to be visually very stunning, and always, it always has, like, a traditional song that has been used in the past when it comes to, like, back in Vietnam, and so, like, we really try to stick to that when we choreograph traditional dance. Like, we kind of look at past references, like, what does a Vietnamese dance look like? Because, like, I feel like, because I'm not Vietnamese, if you don't know, I'm Chinese Cambodian, like, what? And I'm directing VCN?
That's alright. Obi's not Vietnamese.
Obi's not Vietnamese, no, but we just try especially with, like, the guidance of Tinn throughout the years, we kind of got, like, a feel of, and, like, everyone who grew up in Vietnamese families, like, they would let us know, oh, what's this called? Like, these are traditional moves that are, like, seen for these dances. And so, like, we have Kobe and Andy choreographing and they're both Vietnamese, and our traditional dances this year. So,
I like, and I can appreciate that even though you're not Vietnamese, you go to outside sources to kind of get what's authentic. You go to Professor Matsukizme, talk to Professor Buenavista about immigration, and you talk to Tinn and stuff. So that's really cool. I commend that, because you can just be like, oh, this is my own story. Like, I don't really care. But that's really cool. Of course, I know you wouldn't, but I do respect that you go out of your way, you do your research, your due diligence to, get your facts straight, to get the traditional stuff in place, because it is, so after all, Vietnamese Culture Night. So let's see. Who's in your board? I know there's a dance director, there's costume people.
Oh, in terms of, like, my crew, VCN crew. So we have so many committees. So we have behind the scenes stuff, like marketing, sponsorship, we have stage crew, we've got registration,
Wow.
hospitality, costumes, makeup, props and design,
Wow.
all that.
You don't gotta say names, but it's a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when is this show going to play?
Oh, very, very soon. In like 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Wow.
Yeah, March 9th. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Show officially starts at 7 p.m. and then we should be closing at 9:30
Okay.
p.m. And it's free admission
free.
for everyone.
That's good.
Like not just CSUN students, everyone.
Okay.
Everyone's invited, and yeah, we highly encourage you to come out because it's a fun night and you get to kind of experience and learn about the Vietnamese culture because there's not like a Vietnamese class on campus, so it's like how VSA kind of like serves what our purpose is to kind of educate CSUN when it comes to Vietnamese culture.
Right. I agree. That's cool because on the outside it may look like it's just a bunch of check-ins at TNT, but it's a lot deeper than that. It's a lot deeper.
My God.
Because I learned a lot. I learned a lot from being in VSA, about the culture and stuff, and I did that video, the Lisi and all that whatnot, and I learned from Tinn Ou. I talked to him. I had an episode with him about the previous episode.
Right. Yeah.
And he told me about his Vietnamese experience, and it's just overall fun.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend everyone to go.
Yes.
I have a small part. Small part. Ron's back.
Ron's back.
Yeah, Ron's back.
Yeah.
But all right. So you saw the dates. Is there a social media? Like, where can we look this up online? Do we have to? Is there a will call ticket just in case you want to reserve seats?
Yeah, if you want to reserve seats and if you want to check out our event page, it's on it's a long title. You can also find it in our CSUN VSA Facebook group. But if you're searching it up on Facebook, it's CSUN VSA presents CSUN VSA's 6th annual Vietnamese Culture Night.
Right.
And then we'll have an event page, and in the description you'll see that there's like a will call list set up already. People have been signing up. We're inviting external schools to come out because there are external VSAs. And also if you follow us on Instagram at Northridge VSA, like we constantly update that on our stories, on our feed. So yeah, definitely check those out, Facebook and Instagram. You'll see us there.
There's one person I want to mention. I hope you do go. I want to give her a shout out. Flora.
Flora!
Yeah.
Flora G!
Yeah, how did you meet her? So random.
Oh my gosh. Well, Alika, who was her roommate like in Long Beach her first year, and they're like really, really good friends, like still to this day, and I don't know if you see, they still hang out and everything. But I'll introduce you to Alika too. She might be coming to the show as well. But like, so through Alika, I met Flora when I was visiting Long Beach, and I was like, and Flora's just naturally very like social and friendly, and I was just like, I instantly like connected with her, and so it's really cool because I don't get to see her that often, actually, but when I do,
I've never seen her before.
Oh, you've never seen her
No,
before?
I met her in a. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, Asian.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just saying that like connections through one of my best friends from high school, and just happened to meet Flora. She's an amazing person, an amazing photographer, and like
yeah. So I hope she does go. I hope she listens to this. But yeah, okay, I think that's about it. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to confirm. Sorry, I didn't say the location.
Oh yeah, where is it at? This is a big campus.
Plaza del Sol Performance Center. That's in the USU.
That's by Subway and stuff.
Yeah, that's by Subway and everything.
Okay.
You'll see it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again.
Yeah, of
VSA,
course.
VSN,
Thank you guys so
come
much.
out. It's free.
Yeah.
Bye, Flora.
Bye,
Okay.
Flora.